After the world parked its cars, oil producers kept pumping, and storage became the hottest nightclub in Oklahoma. From one expiring contract promising 1,000 barrels delivered in Cushing, comes the day crude smashed through zero and kept drilling, minus $37 a barrel. The oil was not worthless. The obligation was radioactive. Wall Street had invented free money with a 1,000-barrel hostage situation. Any self-declared ape could claim the tendies, the community's profit feast, with industrial tanks, pipeline rights, financing, and a driveway zoned for the apocalypse. Today, 4 stages explain the crash: why oil flooded storage, how physical delivery worked, why sellers stampeded for the exit, and who could handle the final bag. Ruin Stage 1. The world stopped, but the oil did not. In April 2020, roads emptied and aircraft stayed grounded. The International Energy Agency estimated global demand fell 29 million barrels per day below the previous April. That was not a dip. That was the oil market driving through the floor and asking whether the basement had parking. But wells, pipelines, and tankers do not stop like a phone app. They are enormous physical systems with contracts, crews, pressure, and momentum. While the customers vanished, the barrels kept clocking in. Congratulations, crude had achieved perfect attendance during the apocalypse. OPEC Plus producers agreed to cut 9.7 million barrels daily. The cut began on May 1st. April's unwanted oil was already circling Oklahoma with the confidence of a delivery driver who had absolutely found your house. The demand hole was almost 3 times the announced cut. In other words, the brake pedal worked. The car was already inside the restaurant. Those barrels flowed towards storage hubs, especially Cushing, Oklahoma. Cushing is where this American benchmark contract can require physical delivery. Its tanks were about 81% utilized in late April. That sounds like 19% vacancy. Beautiful due diligence, fellow degenerates. Unfortunately, visible space was not the same as available space. Capacity could already be leased, scheduled, inaccessible to the right pipeline, or reserved for operations. The app displayed empty rooms. Every room had an invisible guest, 3 pipelines, and a lawyer. Then your order shipped. Ruin Stage 2. The contract grows teeth. West Texas Intermediate is a major American crude oil benchmark. Its futures contract fixes a price today for oil delivered later. Most traders exit or roll before delivery. Rolling means replacing the expiring contract with a later one. Only about 1% of futures traded typically reach physical delivery. That routine makes crude feel like stonks wearing a cowboy hat. Numbers blink, apes click, nobody needs absorbent flooring. Until expiration, then the screen removes its makeup and introduces the plumbing. One contract represents 1,000 actual barrels of crude. 10 contracts represent 10,000 barrels and a deeply spiritual conversation with local zoning. Our mascot wanted price exposure, profit if the number moved correctly. The contract offered oil exposure, meet your new liquid dependence. Same button, heavier consequences. This is where diamond hands collide with industrial reality. On Wall Street bets, diamond hands means holding through a crash instead of selling. Excellent for internet morale. Less excellent when the position asks for tanks, pipelines, scheduling, insurance, and several million very understanding neighbors. That is not personal risk tolerance. That is county-level infrastructure. Proper due diligence asks what happens if the trade survives until expiration. The ape version asks whether 1,000 barrels fit beside the recycling bins. They do not. Positions or ban means show the trade or leave. At expiration, it became storage or panic. Ruin Stage 3. The exit becomes a mouse hole. At the April 20th opening, the May contract still had 108,593 outstanding contracts. That was nearly 70% above the recent average for that stage. 54.2% belonged to long, non-commercial participants facing a deadline. They needed to sell, roll forward, or prepare for delivery. The crowd had diamond hands. The doorway had paper dimensions. Buyers able to accept delivery held the rare superpower. They had storage access, pipeline arrangements, financing, and time. Meanwhile, the sellers had motivational memes and a shrinking afternoon. Liquidity means finding someone willing to take the other side. As those buyers disappeared, cheap oil became brutally expensive to escape. Our mascot named the Thesis Tanker Gang. Now, it was Tanker Please Take This Thing Off Me Gang. Paper hands mean selling when fear arrives. On this day, that looked less cowardly and more forklift certified. At roughly 8 minutes past 2 Eastern Time, the May contract crossed below zero. Stonks are supposed to go up, but this contract found a trapdoor beneath the basement. By 2:29, it touched minus $40.32. 1 minute later, it settled at minus $37.63 per barrel. The price chart had not crashed. It had escaped the building. One contract covered 1,000 barrels. At settlement, the negative price equaled $37,630 for accepting that obligation. For one glorious second, this looked like the greatest YOLO in ape history. They paid you, but you also received oil. The tendies appeared to be breaded in pure capitalism. Then the delivery terms kicked down the door. Storage, transport, financing, scheduling, and risk still cost money. The cash was not a prize. It was the market screaming, "Take this damn problem away from me." That is the traditional path from diamond hands to a strangled gasp. The sound of infinite confidence meeting a finite driveway. Our mascot closes the app and declares the crisis over. The tanker already has his address. Before Ruin Stage 4, kill the easy myths. Cushing was constrained, but it was not literally full. The United States Oil Fund was not holding this expiring May contract. The public record did not prove one mastermind caused the collapse. There was no oil supervillain stroking a cat beside the emergency sell button. The collapse was a pileup, destroyed demand, continuing supply, constrained storage, late exits, thin buying, and expiration. 6 separate disasters arrived at one timestamp. The market called it price discovery. Everyone else called it what the hell. Ruin Stage 4, meet the final bagholder. A bagholder is the trader left owning a collapsing position. Here, the bag was petroleum with directions to Oklahoma. By final expiration, every remaining long position belonged to commercial producers or merchants. Those firms were structurally capable of handling physical delivery. But that does not prove every firm bought below zero, nor does it prove every firm made a fortune. What it does prove is that the final boss was not a hedge fund. It was somebody with a tank key. The screen said everyone was trading the same asset, but reality checked those positions and discovered 2 species. One had pipelines, storage, credit, and scheduling teams. The other had sunglasses and a meme folder labeled serious due diligence. Apes together strong, pipelines together stronger. The rocket reached the moon. The moon was an industrial storage hub in Cushing. Now, a serious turn. Bank of China's crude oil treasure product used the official negative settlement. The bank said roughly 46% of customers closed voluntarily. Roughly 54% were rolled or settled at expiration, including long and short customers. However, affected long customers faced losses beyond a zero oil price. They were not comic degenerates or characters in loss porn. They were customers encountering a risk ordinary people rarely imagine. Meanwhile, Interactive Brokers also had systems and supervision failures around negative oil prices. Hundreds of affected accounts initially suffered losses exceeding $82 million. The broker later paid $82.57 million in restitution. That consequence deserves the straight version. Real people paid for systems that treated zero as the end of mathematics. Now back to the machinery. Oil found the trapdoor, and the software had no box for this shit. The verdict is brutally simple. An oil contract is never merely the word oil. Instead, it contains a location, delivery date, storage need, financing cost, and exit route. Delete those nouns, and reality reinstalls them without asking permission. Finance cannot repeal logistics, not even with diamond hands. That lesson reaches beyond professional oil traders. After all, whenever a product promises effortless exposure, inspect the ugly ending. Who closes it? Who stores it? Who can absorb the failure? If nobody knows, your rocket may be a delivery vehicle. On April 20th, 2020, oil did not become universally worthless. One expiring American contract became worth minus $37.63 per barrel. But the market was not paying random apes to become energy barons. Instead, it was paying capable buyers to inherit an immediate physical problem. The distinction is the whole movie. Our mascot began with a YOLO, diamond hands, and Lambo fantasies. But he ended with 1,000 barrels, no tank, and enough lost porn to qualify as municipal planning evidence. No tendies, only crude nuggets. Like the video before the delivery truck finds us. Comment with a trade whose fine print deserved its own horror film. And subscribe before your driveway gets promoted to America's least prepared oil terminal.